Let's get it.
Got one that can see.
Manipulation, total domination, running this game with no hesitation. Welcome to the Visual Disturbance channel, where the bluegrass grows, which in some cases nobody knows. Today, the manipulation of time and space for humanity. Welcome everybody to the Visual Disturbance channel. If it's the first time being here, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, share this thing out. We are live today on the Visual Disturbance channel. Plus, we are live back on Facebook. Facebook Visual Disturbance channel on the Facebook. So it's been a long time since I've been live on that. So check this out. We're all there, and I hope everybody enjoys this program this afternoon. So manipulation of time and space for humanity. But before we get into today's program, I have a special announcement. I hope I'm coming in loud and clear. If I'm not, I'm a little rusty when it comes to live here lately. We haven't been live for a long period of time. But I want to show you all something that I'm super stoked about and super excited about. Hope everybody can attend with us this August, this summer coming up in 2025. We're going to be doing a Spiracy Con. Spiracy Con, if you are into Bigfoot, UFO, Sasquatch, Dogman, Mothman, you name it. We're going to be tackling all this, and we're going to have a big old special guest on the panel. And it's going to be August the 22nd through the 23rd in Cave City, Kentucky. Tickets are not on sale just as of yet, but you can sign up for our newsletter, and that is all on the website. And you can see the location and everything there. It'll give you all the details and looking for updates in the future. And also, if you get an opportunity to go check out our Spiracy Con Facebook page. Subscribe to it, follow that. If you get an opportunity, we would really appreciate that here at the Visual Disturbance community. And we really appreciate it. Hope to see everybody there. It's going to be an interesting event, and I hope everybody will be able to attend. And check all that out. So with that being said, manipulation of time and space for humanity. So guess what just dropped recently? And I was like, I've got to jump all over this. I got to get all over this because it's one of those, let's just say conspiracy / controversial topics that we talk about on Visual Disturbance. But today we're going to show here there has been something that has just dropped recently. There's a gentleman that is the White House director of the science and technology. And this is a treat. So check this out. We're going to just jump right on in today. So this gentleman that you see on the screen is Michael Crios. Say that 10 times in a row. No offense to his last name. Crios. I'm probably butchering it. Michael Crios. So let's see what Michael Crios has to say about a specific topic we're going to be talking about today. So let's just check this out. Let's jump right on into it. Well, we might if I can get the technicalities out of the way. One moment.
Stands and the Concorde was decommissioned more than 2 decades ago. Our passenger planes are slower than they used to be. Our trains crawl compared to those in other parts of the world. Our cars do not fly. Advances have not stopped, but something has gone wrong. Stagnation was a choice. We have weighed down our builders and innovators. The well-intentioned regulatory regime of the 1970s became an ever-tightening ratchet, first hampering America's ability to become a net energy exporter and then making it harder and harder to build. We seem to have lost focus and vision, to have lowered our sights and let systems and structures and bureaucracies muddle us along. But we are capable of so much more. Our technologies permit us to manipulate time and space. They leave distance annihilated, cause things to grow, and improve productivity. As Vice President Vance said in a recent speech, the tradition of American innovation has been one of increasing the capacities of America's workers, of extending human ability so that more people can do more and more meaningful work. But unrestricted immigration and reliance on cheap labor, both domestically and offshore, has been a substitute for improving the productivity with technology. We can build in new ways that let us do more with less, or we can borrow from the future. We have chosen to borrow from that future again and again. Our choice as a civilization is technology or debt, and we have chosen debt. Today, we choose a better way. Our first assignment is to secure America's preeminence in critical and emerging technologies. This administration will ensure that our nation remains the leader in the industries of the future, with a strategy of both promotion and protection, protecting our greatest assets and promoting our greatest innovators. To the degree it even tried to accomplish this, the Biden administration failed on its own terms, led by a spirit of fear rather than promise. The old regime sought to protect its managerial power from the disruptions of technology, while promoting social divisions and redistribution in the name of equity. They secured American technology poorly and failed to strengthen our leadership at all.
Well. Well, if you just didn't catch that, he's talking about manipulation of time and space. So, it's kind of ironic. Not too long ago, we did a program with Brother David on FOJC, and I said to myself, I got to present this again because there's this documentation out there that was, it's let's just say a patent out in, I think it was April of 2006. Imagine that. Here we are almost 20 years later. But it's you can find it, you can download it, you can do all that good stuff with it. But before we get into that, what is this guy saying? Right? Is it something like, are we living in some type of weird cosmological change? You hear about people all the time talking about different things with disclosure and the star systems, the constellations. Nobody's getting anything. It just seems like everybody's just sporadically brainwashed into believing every single thing that comes down the street. And in some cases, there's no streets because the floods have came and washed them all away. But, it's interesting that he makes the quote, our technologies permit us to manipulate time and space. So, what? So isn't it kind of interesting that when you think about things, folks, in the way when it comes to the Giza pyramids and all these megalithic structures, you see all these different things. You hear about technological advancement with military applications. You see the blue lasers you see the lasers coming down. Everybody's got a blue tarp over their head. I'm just joking. There's some fun humor here doing this program. In Chile and different countries, they're painting the roofs blue. You know what I'm saying? So then, I don't even want to bring it up. I was getting ready to do a show on it, but the Blue Origin, this whole drama that's on the Internet of Things with some type of celebrities with a bunch of women going up into doing some fakery and throwing up monarch symbols and all this nonsense and just predictive programming and programming people's minds and saying they went to space and floated around with all the decorations and everything. The CEOs are flopping and falling on their face. And then today you see this getting released on Twitter X, and you see that there's a director, this Michael Crios, is speaking and literally acknowledging that there's some type of manipulation or something to that level in effect. Well, if you remember several years ago, I did a program on time travel. The Pentagon had some type of mysterious file where they was claiming that they have mastered time itself. So you have to think to yourself, is it, this gentleman talks about the 70s. Is it something that goes back to Philadelphia experiment? Is it something ties back to the quantum computers and all the different things that go, back to the advancements in the 70s when computers started getting into, let's just say from big warehouses to smaller and smaller to your handhelds today and your desktop. Like Steve Jobs and all those guys creating them supposedly in their garage with the selling for $6,666. It makes you wonder. So when you're saying, this gentleman here, Michael Crios, is saying that it's stagnant and our technology in some case or form was shut off in the 70s. So let's just face the facts. The supposedly moon landing in the 60s, and all of a sudden, boom! And then at the end of the 70s, like you got Star Trek, Star Wars, everything, and just keep spoon feeding. Let's get it. Let's fake it all till we make it, so to speak, and let's make it all happen and form the minds of everybody. So this gentleman's saying that America has the technology. You keep hearing the president that's in power now saying there's technology and weaponry that no man has ever seen. So I'm wondering if they're hinting around with 0-point energy. Oh my goodness. Could it be 0-point energy? Oh, don't even go there, right? They're talking about molecular structure and changing the ground and quantifying everything, and it's just one big cesspool of sadness, right? And they're saying it's going to be helpful, blah, 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 whatever. And then there's all this, theater that goes on with it. It just about drives a man to the crazy town, okay? So you get this director here talking about the space-time continuum and manipulating of space-time. So I have a document. That you're really going to enjoy. You're really going to enjoy this one because I had to save it for this, and I just can't help it. So this document is called the United States Patent Application Publication St. Clair. It's the public publication number is US 2006-007-1122, and it's literally called the full body teleportation system. Okay, I hope that the audio is clear. Let me know in the chat if the audio is not clear. If it's not, if it's too loud, if it's blowing your speakers up, let me know. So as we go on in reading here, let's just read what it says. The pulsed gravitational wave wormhole generator systems can teleport a human being throughout, well, it didn't say throughout, but it says hyperspace from one location to another. Riddle that one, folks. Riddle that one. So you see this graphic here. You see the thumbnail that I made. So this patent corresponds with the thumbnail. And you're like, well, Brian, there's these humans, and there's like this Stargate, and there's these alien grays looking, acting all silly, And then, you hear all these so-called researchers and people out there in the know and the internet of things saying, these are the humans from the future, the black-eyed people. These are the time travelers of old. So, I do a daily what-ifs on the Visual Disturbance channel. What if? What if there's some kind of diabolical fallen angel knowledge drama going on in the Galactic Federation that you keep hearing about? It drives you to the, like I always say, a little spray make you go cray-cray. So as we're sitting here, throughout time, there's all these, inconsistencies, right? But when you go back to looking at this PDF file, this patent, let's go to number three page. Well, I'll tell you what, let's not go to the number 3 page yet. Let's go to this page. So this is a diagram of anatomy of a man, and you got A through H. So these are the vortices, okay? So you have these vortex-like spinal cord, chakra, drama going down your spine, all that good stuff. But then if you go down to page 3 of this documentation, it is labeled number 3, you'll see where it starts to get really interesting. Well, and you can see here what you're seeing here, these two obelisks in the middle. There's where you can transport the entity or the human or the rock or whatever. So we go down, we go to number 3, because I really think number 3 is just interesting to me. And it blows the mind if you go down to referring to this section where it's the summary of the invention. Okay? It is an object of this invention to teleport a human being from one location to another by creating a pulse gravitational wave traveling through hyperspace, and then compresses, expands the quantum levels of human energy through space-time curvature distortion of the hyperspace quantum wells, pulls the physical body out of the dimensions such as the human being teleported along with the wave as the pulse waves move on past the quantum wells. The human is brought back into the dimension at some distance location. The invention requires a device that will generate a wormhole between space and hyperspace, and a device that would generate a gravitational wave which can insert through the wormhole. Well, here's where it gets interesting. You go down to 0022. A magnetic vortex wormhole generator has already been developed, which generates a wormhole between space and hyperspace as described in the previous patent application, and it's literally entitled Magnet Vortex Wormhole Generator. Using this generator, it was found that the smoke blown through one side of the coil does not appear on the other side of the cylinder coil. The smoke flows through the wormhole and appears in a hyperspace code dimension. It was this experiment that resulted in them making the first contact with the androids, no joke, the androids of the gray aliens who told me in a remote viewing session that we saw you blowing smoke in hyperspace. Well, there's a lot of smoke being blowed, and like I always say, like I referred to a while ago, a little cray-cray make you, a little spray make you go cray-cray. I can't even talk correctly because of this stuff is so bizarro world, okay? So so you got a machine, you got a wormhole distributing a little smoke, and all of a sudden, and the gray aliens, right? And we all know here on Visual Disturbance Channel and FOJC, we talk about fallen angels when it comes to the biblical narrative, and we're not going to differentiate from anything or change our narrative or change our perspective, because that's what it is, okay? We got these gray entities, we got these, whatever you want to call them, right? These entities that are playing with God's creation. Let's just face the facts, okay? And manipulation and, the remote viewing stance, they admitted it. The three-letter agency admitted it last year, and it was just, everybody was like, yeah, I don't know what that is, right? I don't know. And you can do a few little Google search, and you can just you can get pretty much a good summary of what remote viewing is, okay? So, the document says, we saw you blowing a little smoke into hyperspace. I guess it was the grays farting on the other side and the implosion of our chemical imbalance here when it comes to, let's just say, cows farting here in our good old state of America. And it must be what they're referring to when the gravitational magnetic vortex wormhole generator must counteract the farts. Okay, so there's a little bit of more fun in plug-in, but that's just where we're at. It's getting on my nerves. It's really getting on my nerves. So it goes on and talks about these concentric cylinder-like coils, and it talks about the two obelisks, and you have to have obelisks to be able to transport something, and then you go into the full body transfer. Okay, so I had this thought this morning, and I have to bring it up. I had this thought, and when I had this thought, I said, to myself, I said, Brian, surely goodness it won't be so. Surely this won't happen, and surely this nonsense won't go down in our reality. So check this slide out. Check this out, what I'm getting ready to show. A lot of people don't know about this. A lot of people it's not even on the radar. But check this out. You have this Deagel report that came out not too long ago, and it's talking about let's just say the population. I had to get a drink there, forgive me. So if you look at the bottom, this came out, this is the year reporting in 2013, but then if you go down to forecast in 2025, it said they get us, in the population of America was supposedly 69 million. Yeah, folks, 69 million. That's what they're claiming. But I think as of right now, they kind of rounded it up to 100. They made it look all nice. So apparently in 2025, there's some type of cataclysm or catastrophic event that's getting ready to implode and blow up all over the place. And I thought about it. Predictive programming and everything into the psyche and the cerebral cortex, the mental state of the left brain, the left and the right brain, the hemispheres and hemisync and all this drama. The Monroe Institute talking about a little, smoking a little, pop a little LSD, and you're going off into remote viewing land with the gray people, right? Well, I had this thought because all the years that's went by, and since the 1800s, and forgive me if I'm speaking too bluntly here, and forgive me if I insult you in any shape or form, because that's not what I'm trying to do here. But when it comes to rapture, and that didn't get started getting taught until, what, the 1800s, this would be one of those events that they could use some type of diabolical weapon and make everybody disappear. Poof! There comes the magic smoke. We saw some smoke blowing in hyperspace, and all of a sudden, all we see is clothes everywhere. You see all the movies all the time, you know, with the Left Behind movies and everything, and they're so quirky and corny, you know, with the shirts and everything flying around. There's nobody around. But it just, you know, it baffled me. Because I've been watching and rewatching, revisiting this. I only watched like 2 episodes years ago. I watched the show Lost. Well, in Lost, there's so many nuggets of what I'm talking about today. And they have on these islands, these literally magnetic vortex wormhole situations. And then, you know, the Irish guy's like, yeah, you know, he takes the key and he reboots and puts the key in, all of a sudden flash, and guess what? He lost his clothes. He's running naked through the woods. And I thought, is there some type of correlation here? Where are we at? You know, like Lost is like, hey, we all got superhuman abilities. Now I can telekinesis and look to the future, and I can see like 20 minutes or 2 hours or 15 hours ahead of time. And now I'm in La La Land, right? So it makes you wonder, what if in 2025 there's some type of horrific event? And I'm not laughing at this. If you go down to 100 million in this country in 2025, you might as well shut it all down. Forget the floods, forget the mudslides, forget the sinkholes, forget the gigantic floods, because if the semis don't run, we ain't gonna have no fun. Okay, the semi drivers, I say this all the time on my channel. My hat goes off to you if I had a hat on. Listen, folks, anybody drives a truck, they have such will. They have such drive to keep on keeping on, keep on trucking. These men and women are like the heart when it comes to America, when it comes to transporting goods. Let's just face the facts, okay? They put their blood, sweat, and tears, and they put their life on the line 24/7 to make sure we have goods. So big shout out to the drivers out there in the crazy insanity of going out there in the large potholes. Maybe they'll make you a particle accelerator where you can jump through and go through the exits and fly off into oblivion. Maybe that's what this Michael Crios, maybe that's what he's referring to. Maybe we'll have flying, instead of DeLoreans back in the 85, you know, Back to the Future narrative, maybe they'll have flying semis where you can transport goods quicker and more efficient. I don't know. There's my rant. So the Deagel report is very interesting and very scary. Let's just face the facts, whatever that is. And even if there's anything that supposedly it's credible, if there's any facts to this and whatever cometh, here we are in April, who knows what's going to come around the bend, so to speak. So I know God knows, and fear not, because it's insanity. So I thought about it. One other point I want to point out, a couple more points. So I thought about this. The Halls of Amity. You know, we just done a program just not too long ago on the Great Pyramids of Giza. They find all these cylinders on the ground underneath. Well, I'm not trying to be, you know, going down the 10-full hat deal, right? If you really ponder on what I'm getting ready to say. So if you go back to this document, it talks about this wormhole generator and talking about these coils that go down, and there's, you know, it just talks about 2. But what if it's a bunch? What if this was the main hub of some type of huge system that they put into play a long time ago, and they do some, I hate to use this word, nefarious evil deeds that they are calling that is gravitationally happening all over the place. We have these places waking up, these megalithic sites, and everybody's like in the dark about it. It makes you wonder. And I guess when you see a little smoke blowing, and you all of a sudden, you know, when people, and it even gets into more detail, when you see a little smoke going around, maybe somebody's around the corner remote viewing, like, you know, Professor X on X-Men. Okay, that's how bad it is. That's how bad everything is getting, as far as, let's just use the term stupid. Okay, let's just use a Kentucky slang. Let's not use nothing that is I don't want to sound so fluent in my English language, but I will say stupid, okay, and infuriating, okay. And people think that we can't articulate or function on a level and understand because God's gave us abilities and we can see through the sunshine and the lies, right? Not me. I'm not referring to sunshine bad. I'm referring to what they just continue giving us. This like nonsense narratives. And then there's stuff like this that make you go, why is this stuff out in the public? And then we have, voila, Mr. Michael coming out of nowhere saying, hey, we have this technology that can bend space-time and space and humanity manipulation, whatever it is, and we should be doing better, and it was stagnant from the 70s. Take a deep breath. Take a deep breath and calm down. When you look at this and you go on in this document, I don't need to show it. It just talks about the chakras. Imagine that. Going to the Kundalini. Imagine all this stuff. If there's esoteric understanding, I guess there is up in this mess. But when you look at this documentation, you think about it, you have to really relate back and forth. It even shows this. It shows planes. It shows the way planes and the way that they would be affected during these transitions of space-time and manipulation with the full body transportation of a full body. So it makes you wonder, I just want to throw this out here, 2 or 3 more cents. There's a lot of CEOs that are up in the air and all of a sudden, poof, pop, everything goes out in the middle of nowhere and there's a lot of things falling out of the sky. So one would have to wonder, is there a correlation? Because they're saying, oh, yeah, there's something up there. Did they pull the switch? Is this what, did they pull the switch? Did somebody pull the switch, folks? And now they're trying to just say, well, that's not good. Well, this ain't good. This is tragic. Yes, it's tragic. There's people passing away. But wonder if there is anything that correlates with what I'm presenting today. I wonder. Because this full body transfer system supposedly was filed in September of 2004. And one would have to wonder, and the publication date on it was April the 6th, 2006. And one would have to wonder, if you go back and dig into this document, we would be here all day. But it talks about different experiments, like this one, for example. This plane and this gentleman, the device, he skipped through time through a crosswalk, and he looked up, and the plane had skipped at the exact moment, and the plane and the occupants of the plane had no clue, but he did. I think it was like 50 feet or 100 feet, if not mistaken. I might be wrong on those statistics. But what I want to make out here, if there is any conclusion to this, what if, and maybe that's why everything's going on with the whole thing that went down in the early 2000s, and the last thing, and the big heavy hitter that happened like in the 2020s, and then we have these machines and stuff that are either underground, underneath the facilities, and you have planes their GPS systems, all these things, navigation equipment, everything's falling apart. Wonder if there's a magnetic anomaly. And this, like this diagram's showing here, there was documentation on this file here talking about that when he crossed over, supposedly, he did not lose time, he just skipped through time, according to this document. Take it for what it is, folks. I'm not saying that I believe it all. I'm not saying I'm on the fence, literally. I'd have to see it to believe it. But the documentation's showing something totally different. So, according to this account, when this background of this invention, they tried it. They referred to this invention event in May the 2nd, 2004, which the inventor personally experienced a full body transfer while walking at a bus stop. Okay. And it was 50 meters. I just found the number there for everybody. It's 50 meters. So the plane and everything moved with him during this moment of this gravitational physics, whatever you want to call it. So somebody knows this is going on. Somebody knows. So if you remember, and there's a 370, it's almost say, because it's very controversial here lately, let's just say the plane 370 that went out of the country with the word, it starts with the M, There's a gentleman on X, Ashton, talks about this, about the 3 orbs, and they have the footage. We showed it many times here on Visual Disturbance. I wonder if that is those 3 orbs are the teleportation devices and they mastered it. Now it can levitate and go in the sky and do whatever. So isn't it interesting? Just think about this. Just a wide spectrum here of everything that's going on. We got drones, we got UFOs, we got orbs and everything. We got all this insanity going on. People in New Jersey in December was like in panic mode. Heck, in my neck of the woods, they just did a drill back in March at the military base and deployed the drones. So what is it? My question is to you all, everybody here on the Visual Disturbance community, is there a correlation, is there a connection that there's these orbs in the sky? Is there planes missing? Is there cattle mutilations on the rise? I would say yes, from my personal opinion. We see the planes falling. We see the helicopters falling. Heck, we've seen people saying that they've lost time. I've seen on people online saying that they're going through their 4D ascension phase and they can't even remember what year they're from. I've heard all kinds of stuff. You know, when you with the correlation with AI and everything, and people like that combining of AI components and everything. You know, God only knows what they have, but according to the director here, he's literally saying that they have this technology. So with that being said, I'm going to give somebody a shout out. Cody from Texas. You're late. So I'm going to take a few comments here. Cody, big shout out to brother Cody there. But yeah, what's your all's take on this? The manipulation of time and space for humanity. Because before we move on, before we go to the conclusion of this, I got something else to rattle real quick out of my head. Just what if they can only go to a certain point in time? You hear about the singularity and everything. What if they only could go, let's just say, to a certain point in time? And if you think about this, like I said at the beginning of the program, we went from computers that was large as warehouses to around the 70s, which Mr. Michael Crios says it went stagnant in the 70s. Just think about it. We don't have software called Windows for no reason, okay? We don't have another company called Apple for no reason. We have a new system that's going to be $500 billion investment for Great America for the Stargate, the Project Stargate. We don't have all this stuff coming down the pike for just a coincidence. You know, I'm listening and hearing about the convergence of 2025, the Mayans, the Aztec, everybody, the Samaritans, the Anunnaki. Everybody had it. Sorry, I got a little loud there. Everybody knew the convergence of time, and all the timelines blended to 2025, and that's when the great singularity and the convergence of all their ancestral DNA would emerge. This is how crazy everything is getting. This is how crazy. So, Glenn Beck has been talking about AI. I don't agree with everything Glenn Beck, but a big shout out to Glenn Beck. He talks about some interesting things, and he has some good points about AI. When he talks about AI, he's talking about you need to figure out what you need to do, like as far as know yourself, understand yourself, because you'll get lost in the cesspool of the AI technology. Get ahead of it. You only have a few years. That's what he's claiming. All these experts are saying you only have a few years. Only had a few years to really get ahead of it. And you know, a year ago or so, I'd been like, man, it's not time to even like invest any time into understanding AI. And I would say we need to get ahead of it. And a lot of people will be like, well, how do you do that? Well, first of all, educate yourself. Second of all, don't get lost in the cesspool of lies that is being presented across the airwaves when it comes to our country, okay? There's a leader that is driving me insane. And y'all know I'm not going to say his name because I watch what I say here. But there's a gentleman, for several years, he told everybody here in this good state of Kentucky to put a green light up. And now he's had all this time to show us this 4 or 5 o'clock special that he used to do all the time and mess up our minds. And now he's even making a podcast, and he's all proud about it and making all kinds of commentary. And it makes me want to vomit. And I probably would take on the magnetic wormhole vortex before I would deal with that individual in my presence. So that is not a... I just would rather disregard and move away from those individuals because don't feel good about them at all. You know, God's not in that. Move yourself from it. Walk away. Dust your shoes off. Don't even comment. Don't even give him a platform. Don't even give his name out. Just move on. Dust your shoes off. Pray for the individual. Wish all the love and whatever, and pray that he gets his mind right. Okay. So moving on with all that. So yeah, Nez Lover, say no to AI. That's right. What I'm referring to when I say that comment is we got to get ahead of it, because AI is going to take over and incorporate itself in every facet of everything that we live and do. So my point is, what I'm getting at is, we need to sharpen our tools, so to speak. We need to learn. We need to research. We need to figure out what things we can do and to improve our life. We've had the internet for many years, and we can master crafts and skill sets that can help us in the future. I'm not saying take a deep dive and sit there and worship AI. I'm just saying get ahead of it before you'll get lost in the transition of this great supposedly awakening. And when people are talking about 4D ascension and all this nonsensical mindset, it'll drive a man to literally go into the Lost Island in the TV series Lost, because at least they're not, in that TV series, at least they're getting parachutes of food dropped to them. It's the same principle today. We're getting little nuggets of information, and we are being, let's just say, groomed for something that we're not going to be able to handle. And my point is, when the AI takes over to full whatever sentient, whatever sentinel nonsense, people are going to claim that it's God. There's going to be all kinds of different things people are going to put in. They're going to forget who they are. And this time now to remember and know that we're human, and know that we have a God Almighty creator, like literally a God Almighty creator. And it's not time to be manipulated by the grays. Got the grays. So let me bet this. Tinfoil hat moment. All the stuff we talked about during this program, the wormhole generator and everything, smoking, a little puff, whatever it is, cows farting or whatever, and the smoke and all this remote viewing, they're getting technology from these creatures and these entities. Let's just face the facts. And this AI, let's just say, there's good AI, there's bad AI, and I'll say it many times, it's all going to lead to the same path. Okay? But you can use it as a tool, because a lot of people get in this misconception of, well, I don't want to use that. Well, if you think about it, AI has been around for a long period of time. And it's something like this system, all the systems we're using, all the phones we're using, it's all been incorporated with AI. Let's just face the facts. And it's just the ChatGPT and everything has took it to another level. Let's just say, hyperspeed, so to speak, hyperspace, right? It's took it and put the turbo system in it. We went from, a 4-cylinder to a 12-cylinder, okay? And now, and then here's another quote here from Visual Disturbance. I would say it goes back to antiquity. I would say it goes way back in the pre-antediluvian realm, like the days of Noah, before Noah. I really do. I think that the more I look into archaeology and the more I look at the megalithic sites, the hieroglyphics, the petroglyphs, to me, it speaks that there was some type of significance of AI. When you go back to the Nunahi and the ant people, they talked about to the ant people. The ant people, folks, is the Manakuwabu. The Manakuwabu are the people that take you to Sheol, to take you to the dark place all day long. They're the Brazilian tribal leaders. We talked about this before on here. It says the gray alien depiction that this man showed him, Manakuwabu. They'll give you information, but they will take your children and women. This is no joke. No joke. So this is what we're looking at here. AI is a construct, but humans have helped build it. But there's been a little help. There's little tentacles, Pinocchio tentacles, right? And these grays, or whoever you want to call them, whatever you want to call them, Manakuwabu, whatever, they're at the front of it. There has to be, because you see all these, I mean, there's huge researchers out there that claim that there's small grays, large grays, Phil Snyder, all those cats, man. I said cats, it's Kentucky slang. All these people have been talking about these gray entities and how they manipulate mankind throughout centuries. So this is what I would say when you look at this and what we talk on FOJC and then Visual Disturbance and now UCTV, that these are fallen angel entities. And we have to combat it in some shape or form, and then the only way we do that is to get ahead of it and be informative and be informed and pray for understanding. You know, and a lot of people have followed this channel. Holy Spirit, right? Don't depend on a artificial spirit. That's all I'm going to say. So, welcome everybody to the program here on Visual Disturbance. I haven't went too long, have I? Haven't went too long here. We're on Facebook and YouTube. Don't forget, before I jump on the chat, give a big shout out. I was messing with Brother Cody earlier. So don't forget Spiracy Con. Spiracy Con, if you get an opportunity to go check that out one more time. The link's in the description. You won't regret it. You'll love it. We're going to be doing a lot of different things. We're going to have a lot of guests. It's going to be a really good time. And I'm looking forward to it. And the Sasquatch, Bigfoot, all that good stuff. You can't make this stuff up, like I always say. And we'll jump into the whole UFO phenomenon and meet a lot of different people and their perspectives. And I pray it'll be a blessing to you guys. So let's jump on. There's Scotty. He said right on. Scotty, big shout out to Scotty. He's the first person I seen because, Cat in the Box, the war in heaven has already begun. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying too. This information that we're getting, right? This information of understanding, all these nuggets, all this information, the ether, however you want to pronounce it. They're extracting data. It's the same thing with the Mount Hermon, the 200 Watchers that came down and made the oath in the Book of Enoch. They had knowledge that they brought with them, and they taught it to humanity. Let's just face the facts. Now humanity has decided to make a vortex wormhole and saying, Akuna Matata, how you pronounce it, how you say that? Timon and Pumbaa from Lion King. And I don't know why I said that. Go back to 1994. My brain just shut off. But anyways, Akuna Matata. There you go. That's a bunch of drama, right? I guess that's what they did. I guess they just said, like the certain folks, Hail Mary, and if I'm talking about an NFL play, a Hail Mary, and then let's just build us a vortex system and a sing, whatever. And it's getting out of control. It really is getting out of control. I want to show you something real kind of comical. It's kind of funny. Let me see if I can pull it up here. This is no joke. I seen this today and I laughed a little bit. There's a Jack O'Neill on X. Jack O'Neill was the colonel of the Stargate SG-1 series, and I thought that was pretty comical. And the quote that he made on there was claiming, you can go look this up. It says, "Weird. I wonder if there's a device that can do this if there's a device that can do this that they did soft disclosure on already." Well, I just literally gave you the information. It's not no secret. The patent's there. You can go look it up. And then you can look at the, Mr. Michael Crios was speaking about today. Isn't it kind of interesting? And it makes you wonder what's really going on in reality. It really does. It really does. So let's just see who's on here real quick. Give a big shout out. Thank you, Rebecca. DSG MMA. Good to see you. I didn't get a chance to see. I think Dr. Jekyll was in the house earlier. Speaking of Dr. Jekyll, I remember your comment. I am working on it. I do have a Discord, but it's kind of in maintenance right now. I got to fix that and I'll deploy it. I've never really revealed it on here, but I've had it for like 2 years. So I'll collab and get all that mess, all that configured, and then I'll present it here on the channel, put a link up on one of these days whenever I get it fixed. So there's that, if that answers your question, Dr. Jekyll. Neslever, thank you for always being here. And everybody else. And Cody, go back and rewatch the show, man. You messed the show. But yeah, watch out for the little grays, the Manakwabu. They might be coming at your door, with their space age magnetic wormhole generators. And before I end this conversation, and come to the conclusion, let's see if I can find if you haven't got an opportunity, check out Shake and Wake Radio. Miss Ann, I haven't gave you a shout out for a long period of time. I hope you're doing well. Check out Shake and Wake Radio Network. She covers all of her stuff and converts them into radio format. And I hope you're blessed. I really do. I hope you're blessed, and I hope you are just having a good life. 2025. I know you've been going through some ups and downs, so bless you, Ann. And then also check this out. I hope this is the right slide. Yes, it is. Esther Jades. Go check out Esther Jades if you get an opportunity. Esther Jades, she's a very kind lady, and she does really good work, and she has a lot of awesome quality products. So if you get an opportunity, she's on Facebook. If you follow Visual Disturbance Facebook, you'll be able to find her on my Visual Disturbance Facebook page, and the link it'll direct you to her website. So big shout out to those folks, and hope to see everybody at Spiracy Con. Hope to see everybody at Spiracy Con for sure. And thank you all. If you're just I can't even see the Facebook. Welcome to the Facebook, because I haven't been live here in a long time on Facebook. So thank you all for being here. Share this thing out. Share it on YouTube. YouTube folks, everybody. I thank you all for being part of the Visual Disturbance community. And one more thing. Do me a favor. Because I get a lot of flack for this all the time. I get condemned for it. So bring us up. I bring us up quite often here lately because I've been getting bashed like real bad. It shows you where the hearts are of people. It shows you how there's evil running amok, and people seem to first thing to judge. So here's a question. Here's the thing I'm going to throw out. Would you go up to a blind man and ask him if he has eyeballs? You heard me. Would you go up to a blind man and ask him if he had eyeballs? So the reason why I mention this, I'm not putting down anybody blind. And we should love everybody. Everybody has infirmities. Anything that's going on in this realm, there's a lot of people that are blind that do more than I do. So shout out to people that have to take on that burden. Okay, so let's get to it. I wear these glasses. It's not for entertainment purposes. Okay, a lot of people mock me and bash me and just ridicule me to death. I mean, it's here's the rug at the door, and got my name on it. Okay, yes, I had an accident. Yes, I have vision issues. My question is, once again, would you ask a blind man if he had eyeballs? So here's the thing. I pray that people would stop being so cruel and bash me over my vision therapy glasses. And with that being said, please be kind and courteous to all people, all walks of life, because our hearts are showing it and projecting what your mouth says. You're projecting what your heart is saying. And we might need to have some correction and not be so bitter and angry. Because if I wear a different t-shirt or if I wear my glasses, people ridicule. And I guess it's just human nature to try to destroy people. I don't understand it. But we're trying to shine light. When we have these things like this going on in behind the veil and this evil, and and we have other people, that say we're in this together. There's some more jabs for somebody that makes a comment like that on every post. I'm not going to say any names, but we're supposed to be good to each other. And I don't know if people have lost their moral code or their compass, where they can't be kind to one another. But I can take a lot. I really can. I go through a lot of pain, a lot of stuff, and I endure a lot of problems. But I just wish people would not be so cruel, okay? Just want to throw it out there. So you're hearing it again on Visual Disturbance. I see your negative comments. Bless you all. Thank you all for the good and the positive and the negative and the whatever and the condemning, whatever. But I just want to throw it out there. If you see a blind man, open the door for him. If you see a blind man, help him cross the street. If you see a blind man going and walking into a traffic, please, by all means, help him, assist him away from death and destruction, please. And be kind. There's a channel that I follow. Be the change you want to see is what he always says. Be the change you want to see. Well, why can't we be change? Why can't we change? But we're going to have AI take over, and it's going to take that free will and that love and empathy away, and people are going to be so zombified out that they don't even have that love anymore, to where they can just say, hey, that man needs assistance. Hey, check that person out. instead of getting your phone out and videotape them and mocking them, why can't you just do something good in life? And that's all I'm going to say. So if that was too harsh and people get mad at me about it, so be it. I'm just really kind of irritated and aggravated that people just keep bashing me over that. You know, it's sad. It's a hard issue. It's a hard issue. So that's all I'm going to say. So speaking of manipulation of time and space, maybe some people have already took the wormhole and jumped in it, and that's why they condemn me to oblivion. So bless you all for all your comments and feedback. Subscribe, share this thing out. I hope, and another thing too, real quick. I know people that are wheelchair bound, bedridden. My father, the only daddy that I have in this life, has got severe bone cancer, and I would appreciate to maybe lay off the comments just a little bit. I'll take the doormat. You can step on me when it comes to these so-called, vision glasses that everybody just hate. They just hate it that I wear them. I wear them during my broadcast because of the blue light filtering and that my eyes hurt. I'm trying to do all I can for what mentally I can possibly mentally do. Okay? And, so just lay off me a little bit because, my dad's not doing too good. Big shout out to my dad. Only daddy I can get. A lot of things I could say about that. I don't want to go on a big rant, but a big shout out to my dad. And I wouldn't be here today, even in this position, if it wasn't for my daddy. So everything that he sacrificed and everything he done for me, I can never repay him. And I will just say this, be kind to one another. Love one another. Help each other. My goodness. Do the right thing. And like the gentleman I referred to earlier, be the change you want to see. And do it with a good heart and intention and have a godly mindset. And you can move a mountain. You can move a mountain. And you don't have to have the manipulation of time-space continuum of humanity and a little smoke to communicate with grace to do that, okay? You don't have to do that. So I'm clearing my mind of that. I wish people would stop ridiculing me. I love all you all. Thank you all for being here with me, attending with me. And just pray that everything will get better. That's all I pray. So my poor dad is going through it. I would encourage everybody to keep him in your prayers. So I thank you all for that. Life is hard. That doesn't mean you give up. So if you're in a wheelchair, if you're in a bed, ridden, if you're whatever, if you're blind, you can't drive, or whatever the scenario is, you can still do something in this world, and don't let nobody condemn you and blast you into oblivion to where you can't think that you can't even go outside. So lift up your head and say that I've got, even if you can't move, period. I know a gentleman that I knew for years, and he fell off a roof, and now he's a paraplegic. He can't, I think he can only use one of his arms. And I think about him all the time because he has a family, and I couldn't imagine. Because things happen to me, I fail, but I can still function to a certain extent. Only thing I had wrong with me is my balance and my vision. But man, my heart goes out to that individual, that man, because he's taking it better than I thought. And man, so we should count our blessings every day and keep our minds on the narrow path and shine light. Shout to the rooftops that God has done all this good things, and not try to, and don't hide it. So there's my preaching for this afternoon. But yeah, Johnny Kirk, Brian, doesn't care. We actually make this evil thrive, that there's always going to be evil. Sorry about your father. Yeah, bless you, Johnny. Hey, I hope you're doing well too. I hope you're doing well, and thank you for commenting. And I appreciate it so much. So big shout out to everybody in the chat. Johnny, I hope you're doing well. I know you follow us on everything. I hope to see you on August in the flesh. So that'd be kind of cool, dude. So hope to see you then. And I went a little long. Grateful 79. Thank you for being here. It says watch Enter the Stars. That is very cool. A lot of people come from the Enter the Stars channel to come over here to Visual Disturbance, and what an honor it is. I know Casey does a really good job there at Enter the Stars platform on YouTube. So isn't that really cool? That's really cool that you all come over here from that channel. So I want to thank you all. And there's a lot of good comments. So I hope everybody has a good rest of the day, and keep your head on a swivel, because things are getting a little serious. So anyways, manipulation of time and space for humanity. This one's in the works, folks. Subscribe, hit that like button. Check out all the description below. Check everything in the description, all the links, Spiracy Con, etc. Facebook. Follow me on X if you get an opportunity to do that. I'm trying to build that up. It's took me like 2 years, and it's at a slow crawl right now. So hit me up on X. Hit me up on the social media platforms. Until next time, Visual Disturbance. Well, I'm just kidding. Visual Disturbance, I am out of here. I was getting ready to say something else, but everybody have a blessed day. See you on the next one. And I will see you tonight, believe it or not, with Brother David and Jillian. I will see you tonight. That's what I was going to say. So see you on the next one, folks. Thanks again.